What? Everyone say Varanasi. 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 Yes? It's the oldest place for Hinduism. Okay? It's a very famous place. What does it mean to us as followers of Lord Chaitanya? Prakashananda Saraswati. Does that name ring a bell? Say yes. Yes? And did Lord Chaitanya, I'll try to make the questions easier, because you can guess at them. Did Lord Chaitanya go to Varanasi? Okay, I'll give you 19 points for that. Did Lord Chaitanya stay at a devotee's house in Varanasi? Okay, for 20 points, whose house did he stay at? No. Stayed at Chandrasekhar's house, right? Tapan Mishra's house? Huh? He ate at Tapan, but he stayed at Chandrasekhar's house, I think. So, there's a story about this in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Do you want to hear a story? Wow, that's good. It starts like this. This is from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it's called Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. What does that mean, Lord Chaitanya in 5 features? Yes, give him the microphone. He's always ready for action.
Forms.
Kind of like what?
5 different forms.
Okay, we're getting somewhere. Just give me a little more. Which 5 different forms when we're talking about Lord Chaitanya? I'll give you a little clue. Shall I give you a clue? Hints? There's a song we sing on a regular basis that includes the names of the 5 different forms. Call a friend. Call a friend somewhere in the front row. Okay, Arman.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda. 20 points. So, who are the 5 forms? Your name? What is your name? Huh? Madhav. Madhav, now you've heard the song. You said 5 forms, so what are the 5 forms? This is hard, so just try your best.
Lord Chaitanya.
1.
Nityanand Prabhu.
2.
Advaita Acharya.
3. Well, you're good.
Gadadhar Pandit and Shivas Pandit.
50 points. 10 for each one that you named. Very good, Madhav. Excellent. So this chapter is called Lord Chaitanya and 5 features. But what does that mean, actually? We know there's 5 forms, but what does it mean, Lord Chaitanya in 5 features? Can someone give a philosophical discourse on the title? Who's ready to give a discourse? Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. Discourse. Huh? Okay. Give him the mic. Discourse. What does it mean, Lord Chaitanya in 5 features? What do 5 features mean?
The 5 features are the different qualities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which
Like start at a more basic level. Where does everything come from? That's good. That's a good answer. And who's Lord Chaitanya?
Krishna.
That's another good answer. Where does Balaram come from? What about Chaturvyuha? Comes from Balaram, but Balaram comes from Krishna. So sometimes we say expansions, right? So what does it mean, Lord Chaitanya, in 5 features? Are they all... Yes, go ahead. Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. Give us some philosophical... Make our heads spin.
I think it's like Lord Chaitanya and 5 incarnations, like...
Yeah. What's another word you can use besides incarnation?
Avatars?
Yeah, that's another good one. And then, relative to the conversation, give her the mic. She's fired up. Go ahead. You're amongst friends. Everyone's happy to hear what you have to say. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
Forms?
Yeah, they're forms. That's an important word too, because vigraha, the Lord has form, right? And we also use the word expansion because then it indicates it came from an original source. Expansion sort of is an interesting word because it also could mean that you expand and get bigger. But there's emanations, there's incarnations, there's forms, and they all come from... Okay. Do you want to say anything more? You can extend it. You can give a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Upanishad. Okay, yeah? Okay, let's give it to a friend. Give Shravan. He's smiling.
So the 6th verse of that chapter.
Yeah, of which chapter?
1.7 of Adi Leela, 7th chapter.
Okay.
Panchatattvatakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam. So in that verse, it's explaining how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna expands himself in 5 features. One as a devotee, one as an expansion of a devotee, one as an incarnation of a devotee, one as a pure devotee, and devotional energy itself. So.
Okay, and give some more philosophy. Let's say I'm the person on the street you just met, and you're trying to explain what it all means. Tell it to me as if I'm a first-timer, and you show me this book, which we're likely to do. We do that sometimes, right? We walk up to people, say, "Here, take this." And the guy opens the book, and he says, "What does Lord Chaitanya in 5 features mean?" Tell it to me like I'm a newcomer on the street. And we'll all give him a grade on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being a really well-placed, integrated answer that we could all take with us and use. And 1 means you crashed and burned. Go ahead.
So I mean, in the material world, everybody has different names, and that's how you're able to distinguish between person to person. But in the spiritual world, you need something else. So, for example, for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has many incarnations. Krishna has many expansions, but you need a way to distinguish, this is Krishna, this is Rama, I think. Right? So in that way, the 5 features explain how there are different ways that you can expand Krishna. I mean, so for example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to this material world because he wanted to experience what a devotee feels when he's praying, when a devotee prays to Krishna and gets a lot of happiness or like prema or bhakti. So because he is not able to experience that, he wanted to come to into the material world as a devotee so he can experience that. And then he also expands, and then the other features are not, I don't know.
Hey, listen, I'm going to give you initially 2.5, but I'm going to give it 3.5 because you only said like once, which I'm really amazed at. And you gave an earnest effort. But one thing is, I think it was a little too detailed for the man on the street. Let's keep trying, because it's one of the hardest things to do is take a philosophical concept and then bring it down to the level of a person you just met on the street. Somebody else want to try? Okay. Really, like underhand pitch, something they can hit.
So if I was speaking to a newcomer, I would say, when we talk about Lord Chaitanya and 5 features, we can think about it like the different ways that we can connect with our divine source and serve him best. So these 5 personalities that this book speaks about showcase how we can follow in their footsteps to show love of God.
That's nice. That's very nice. 4.1. Okay, who else wants to bring it down even a little bit more? Okay, Madhuri Saki's fired up.
There are 3 aspects that everyone in this world is trying to go after. One is, which is existing. The second one is knowing, because we are inquisitive human beings. And the third is trying to be happy. And so each one of us are trying to really be happy. And we don't wake up every day asking for something bad to happen to us. So the 5 features of Lord Chaitanya is one way that we can try to attain this happiness in our everyday lives. And there are different forms to it, because sometimes not one answer is applicable to everybody. So therefore, there's different varieties in which we can try to attain this happiness.
What do you think? 4 point what? 4.8. 4.8. 4.6. 4.7. It's way up there, though. It's improving. You're next, though. 6. No? Okay. Who's been thinking about these things of how to take a high philosophical concept and present it? That was very good. How to present it. I'll give one clue, and I think this is coming out in these presentations, is what's in it for them? What are they going to get from this? What's meaningful to someone is what they'll get out of it. And if you think like that, that can be really helpful. Who'd like to give it another shot before I call on somebody? Okay, Shamalangi. Brand new person, you just met them at the Kirtan Oasis. They're looking through the Chaitanya Charitamrita and they say, what is all this about? And what is Lord Chaitanya in 5 features? What do you say?
So Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's not different from Krishna. He's same as Krishna. And whenever he comes to this world, he comes in 5 features. And they perform pastimes together so that we can connect with him and get the love of Krishna, the love of Godhead. And the 5 features are like, one is Krishna himself, who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His expansion his name is Nityananda, and his incarnation is Advaita Acharya, and his energy is Gadadhar Pandit, and the pure devotee himself is Srivas Pandit. So he comes in these 5 features, and they're always together performing pastimes.
That was a very comprehensive explanation. Thank you. Well put together. Although it might be a little bit above the man on the street, but it was very, very well done. How about if you meet kids your age and they want to know, what is Hare Krishna? What do you say? Roger, you're always ready to go. Just tell us what you'd tell a kid. Say you met a kid and they said, your Hare Krishna, I noticed that tilak you're wearing. So what is Hare Krishna? What does it mean? What do you say? Okay, have a little conference. Make a circle here. 4 or 5 of you. And get some ideas. Quick, make a circle. Balaram, get in the circle. You're fired up. Come on, get in a circle. Now remember, this is a person who doesn't know anything, doesn't know what incarnations are, doesn't even know what Krishna means. So I'll make the question more simple. Tell them what Krishna means. What does it mean to them? Do you want your conference? Do you want a conference first? We'll give you a minute. You have a little conference. Talk amongst yourselves. Come up with a good answer. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur. Okay, let's see what your committee came up with.
Krishna means all attractive. He's the one who knows the past, present, and future.
Wow, that's very nice. All attractive, knows past, present, and future. Any of you want to say a little bit more, keeping it on the same level? Okay, 1, 2. Keep it on a simple level. Person, you just met him. They don't know Hare Krishna. They don't know what Krishna is. What are you going to say?
Krishna means all attractive, and the type of more attractive than the type you see, the type of food you see at markets. He's like really attractive, and you really want to join this movement.
And you really want to what?
Join this movement.
Join the movement. Okay. That's good. Bring them right in. You were going to say, you had an idea. She, right here. You had your hand up. Tell us, what are you going to tell person? They don't know anything about Krishna, Hare Krishna, anything. And they say, what are you guys? What do you do?
Krishna's the God.
Krishna's God. Okay. Thank you. That was helpful, simple. What else you got?
Krishna is the center of our life.
The center of our life, and what? And then I'll be the person on the street. Give her the mic. No, keep it right here. What do you mean? He's the center of our life.
Like,
How is he center of life? Who is this Krishna anyway?
so Krishna is the Lord, and meaning he's the center of our life is like we like devote our whole life to him.
And you devote your whole life to him, okay? And you had a question. You had a point.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So Krishna is God, and he's always in your heart, and
He's in your
always
heart.
watching you, and
Okay. Anapayani.
So connecting to the verse or the name of the chapter, Krishna is all attractive, and in fact he's so attractive that he himself wanted to experience loving him because he's so attractive. So he came down as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who serves as an example to all of us, so we can also relish that feeling of him being all attractive. And Chaitanya, when he appeared, he came along with these 5 expansions, and all of them together in their 5 features show us what we should do to worship them and attain that same level of happiness.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. All right. It's homework. homework is to work on having a way to tell somebody who doesn't know anything about Krishna who Krishna is, what's in it for them to, you said, join the movement? Right? Somebody said. Okay. And so, yes.
Hare Krishna. So I'm feeling that I'm meeting to the person who doesn't know even Bhagavad Gita or Krishna.
Right. Yes.
I would say, are you a person? Do you like to do yoga? Yoga, everyone knows. So he would be, yes, I like to do yoga. Have you heard about the Bhakti Yogi? And he said, like, no. But Bhakti Yogi is a yoga of love, which is the highest kind of love. And like everyone else know, someone is higher than everyone else, right? So in this age of quarrel, the person who came is the Lord Chaitanya, and he is not different than the Krishna. And Krishna, you may be wondering, who is Krishna? But Krishna is also a person who is the supreme. Like we all have the qualities, the same quality he carries, but he has abundant qualities. And when everyone wants to be a good person, good yogi, everyone likes to be happy and peaceful, but at the same time they don't know how. So that's why the same person, Lord Chaitanya, who came down for us to be a person and show us how to practice that bhakti yoga. So this is all about, this book talks about, and this book also helps you to understand how the bhakti yogi lives a life. And at the same time, he comes his own entourage, that his friends and everyone comes together, live a happy and musical performance they do everywhere, and people just be mad on him. So that is called the love of yoga.
Haribo. Wow. A lot of good things coming out of this. I think we should have a way to come up with 5 phrases that would be very useful to keep with us, and we could interchange them. They could be a template that we could use. How would we do that technically? How would we harvest those from the excellent presentations everyone's given so far? Brajaras Bhavana, I always look at you because you studied such things. Go ahead.
The first step would be to find all these questions that we think are relevant, that are usually asked by newcomers on the street, or questions that maybe we even have. We want to know how to explain this. And then we have so many wonderful book distributors here who are constantly meeting people on the street. They're working on their craft, and they're coming up with better answers when they see how a person reacts to something. And so they have a very refined answer already in their mind, or they can generate one, and we can take a survey of that and collect them together and nicely organize them, and also refine them further if needed, if we find that maybe one area is lacking, and we can have brainstorming sessions and all that. And finally, we can come with a nice template that anyone can take out with them, like a little pocket book or something, and then that can be their reference when they get asked tough questions on the street.
What's the first step?
Get the questions.
How?
We could do a survey for that too.
When?
Right now, today.
Right now?
We can do it right now too, right over here.
But I mean,
we can organize it out offline as well.
Does it seem like a worthwhile project? Okay, only maybe 10% of you said yes. I got to remember volume control when I ask questions here. Okay, I think it's a good exercise. Being able to explain Krishna consciousness in a way that's relevant to the people you're talking to could be very helpful, couldn't it? Say yes. Yes. What did you just say yes to? That's all right. Okay, so we could send out some kind of a. You want the anyway? You figure it out and send something out to get the process started. Okay. Thank you very much. Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. I'm going to read you a few verses. Everything's in 5s today. You get 5 points for the highest thing. We're talking about Lord Chaitanya in 5 features, and I'm going to read 5 verses. Is that fair? Yes. Ready? Ready? Yes. Don't scream. Let me first offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the ultimate goal of life for one bereft of all possessions in this material world, and is the only meaning for one advancing in spiritual life. Thus, let me write about his magnanimous contribution of devotional service and love of God. Who will read the purport? We need 2 people. Okay, Anapayani Bhakti and Gita Priya. She beat you to it. Go ahead.
How many paragraphs should I read?
There's only 2, so read. Let's go halfway through the whole thing.
Okay. A person in the condition...
Oh, there's 2 convenient ones, cut right in half, so just do 1 each.
A person in the conditioned stage of material existence is in an atmosphere of helplessness, but the conditioned soul, under the illusion of Maya, or the external energy, thinks that he is completely protected by his country, society, friendship, and love, not knowing that at the time of death, none of these can save him. The laws of material nature are so strong that none of our material possessions can save us from the cruel hands of death. In the Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, 9th verse, it is stated, Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. One who is actually advancing must always consider the 4 principles of miserable life, namely birth, death, old age, and disease. One cannot be saved from all these miseries unless he takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is therefore the only shelter for all conditioned souls. An intelligent person, therefore, does not put his faith in any material possessions, but completely takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Such a person is called a kinchana, or one who does not possess anything in this material world. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is also known as Akinchana Gochara, for he can be achieved by a person who does not put his faith in material possessions. Therefore, for the fully surrendered soul who has no material possessions on which to depend, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the only shelter.
Now, before you read, Madhuri, because you didn't get to read, expound on this, on the first paragraph. We need at least 1 additional verse from Shastra and some more context.
There's actually a verse that I was thinking of.
Okay, now you're cooking. Go ahead.
It's from Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and it's from the Kalyana Kalpataro. I'm not sure the meter of the verse, but perhaps I can read the translation of it. He says, your friends, along with your wife and children, will take you to the crematorium. They will burn your dead body and then return home. Who do you belong to? Does anyone belong to you? Now you should consider carefully about the reality of life. This body will certainly perish one day. And then the last part of this song says, if you want eternal security, then always sing about Lord Hari's transcendental qualities and always chant his holy names. O mind, please give up your propensity for false arguments and worship Lord Krishna. This is the only shelter of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
And now a few sentences in your own words to sum it up.
This paragraph, as well as the verses, really reminds us our position in this material world, which is that it's very temporary, and that's why we turn to, you used this term today in your class, which was centering our consciousness, and we should try to center our consciousness around Krishna, and in this case, Mahaprabhu, just like he did for everyone and all of the generations that are to come.
Nicely done, and that verse was spot on. Albeit, very powerful verse, wasn't it? Thank you. Very good. Sadhu, sadhu.
Everyone depends upon Dharma.
Can you all hear? Okay.
Everyone depends upon Dharma, religiosity, artha, economic development, kama, sense gratification, and ultimately moksha, salvation. But Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, due to his magnanimous character, can give more than salvation. Therefore, in this verse, the words hinartadika sadakam indicate that although, by material estimation, salvation is of a quality superior to the inferior interests of religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification, above salvation there is the position of devotional service and transcendental love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the bestower of this great benediction. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Prema Pumam Arto Mahan. Love of Godhead is the ultimate benediction for all human beings. Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, therefore first offers his respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu before describing his magnanimity in bestowing love of Godhead.
Say that last. The magnanimity. Did you say? Magnanimity.
Magnanimity in bestowing love of Godhead.
Did I say it right? Magnanimity. 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 Okay, good reading. And now we need someone to expound on the verse. It's got a lot of points to it. Who would like to expound? Okay.
In relation to this paragraph, it talked mainly.
Nice and close.
This paragraph talked mainly about how people in this world are going for materialistic desires, like moksha, kama, and artha. But it talked about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu giving something much above that. And a verse that came to mind was the verse Kama Sarvo Kama Vava Moksha Kama Udaradi Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusham Param, which basically says whether you're full of material desires, have no material desires, or aspire for moksha, just apply yourself to Bhakti Yoga and go to Lord Hari, because by so doing, you'll attain everything.
Very nicely done. Now, Nitai, expand on that. Give us more. What does it mean beyond the four arthas that everyone aspires for? Or whatever else you want to say. Give them some material. You're in the pundit circle back there. They'll give you stuff. Go ahead.
The ultimate goal of human life is prema, which people are able to get because of Mahaprabhu.
So what Shastra was telling me is that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he through his preaching, he gives prema, and that's the ultimate goal of life.
Very good. Parampara. Yes?
I was looking at some verses in the Chaitanya Chandramritam that very much echo this, because even though in the past many people did follow dharma, even if they followed dharma, they were not able to attain what Mahaprabhu gave. So, in this spirit, Srila Prabhupada and Saraswati says, Acharya dharmam paricharya vishnum vicharya tirthani vicharya vedan vinana gaura priyapada sevam vedadi dushprapya padam vidanti. Even by following dharma, serving Vishnu, wandering the tirthas, deliberating on the Vedas, people cannot know the purpose of the Vedas, difficult to achieve without serving the dear feet of Gauranga.
Very nice. Wow. Okay, good. Just a couple more verses, right? Let me offer glorification to the Supreme Lord, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One who has taken shelter of his lotus feet is the most what person? What's the word? Okay, very good. Purport. Prabhu means Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So for a day, instead of saying Prabhu, just call everybody Master. Okay, Master. Prabhu means Master. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the supreme master of all masters. Therefore, he is called... Do you agree? Do you agree? Do you agree? Do you agree? Yes or no? Okay. Any person, are there any people in here? If you're a person, raise your hand. We want to see if there's any AI robots in here. Okay, it says here, any person who takes shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is glorified because by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is able to get promotion to the platform of loving service to the Lord, which is transcendental to salvation. Okay, my question, how do you take shelter of Lord Chaitanya? What does it mean? Yes?
By following his orders, like chanting every day.
Wow, I like that. Ah, okay. Yes.
You surrender yourself.
How do you surrender yourself?
Like, you can do DT worship, do Abhishekam, chant, do all like kirtan, do all like Krishna activities.
All Krishna activities. Who can give her a very specific verse about how to surrender? You got a specific verse? Okay, give it to her. She's going to give you, because what you said is excellent, excellent. And you can add this to your repertoire. What is a repertoire? Better look it up. Look up repertoire where she's telling us.
Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mame vaye prapadyante maya metam tarantite.
Explain it.
I'm not really sure, but I just know it has something to do with surrendering unto the Supreme Lord.
Yeah, you don't have to preface what you say by "I'm not really sure," because then people start losing confidence in you. Just say what it is, what you remember, and you'll find Krishna will give you the intelligence. So they'll start over. I'll say, what does it mean? Just say the part you remember without saying, I'm not really sure. Just edit that from when you answer any question, especially if you go to an interview. Okay. What does it mean? It means that, whatever you know, go ahead.
Surrendering your whole body to Krishna, like surrendering, like rendering service to Krishna.
Okay, you're hired. Very good. So, what's the specific verse besides Shastra? Does anybody know the specific verse of what it means to surrender? I'll give you a hint. It has 6 parts, and everybody should know the verse. Okay, go ahead, Brajaras.
Armand and I were discussing 2 verses that we've both found. I'll share mine. He can share his too.
Okay.
I was thinking of the verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Anukul yasya sankalpa pratikul yasya varjanam rakshishyati iti vishwaso goptutve varnam tatha atmanikshepa karpanye shadvidha sharanagati. And so this explains the 6 divisions of surrender, which are acceptance of those things favorable to devotional service,
2,
the rejection of unfavorable things, the conviction that Krishna will give protection, the acceptance of the Lord as one's guardian or master, and then full surrender and humility.
Who can remember all the 6 that he just said? Or at least one of them? Okay, Balaram, give us one. Humility, that's one of them. That's part of surrender, is being extremely humble. Okay, 1, 2.
Surrendering.
That's what the verse is about. But so, that's the general idea of it, but we need the specifics, one of the 6. What's another one of the 6?
I was going to say the same thing as Balaram.
What? No mic, no credit.
I was going to say the same thing as Balram.
Okay.
Not doing unfavorable things.
Not to do unfavorable. Yes, that is correct. Yeah. So we got 2 out of 6 now. What's the first one? Be humble. Next one? Reject anything unfavorable. What's unfavorable, would you say, to Krishna consciousness? You say. Yeah. You. Yeah. Give her the mic. What's one thing that's unfavorable to Krishna consciousness that if you gave it up, it would be considered one of the process of surrender? 1, 2. What could you give up? Not you, but anybody. You already gave everything up. You're totally surrendered. So what could somebody give up that would be something detrimental devotional, but you give it up and that would be considered surrender?
Would it be pride?
What?
Pride.
Oh, that's a good one, pride. Okay. Eating meat, you could get somebody give up eating meat, you can give up pride. That's unfavorable devotional service. Yes? What? Drinking. Drinking milk? Drinking mean drinking intoxication. Taking intoxication, you give it up, that's surrender, right? Because those are unfavorable. Yes? You were close, right? Go ahead. The mic's your friend. Make the mic your friend. Tell us what you're thinking. We have somebody managing the mic here. Okay. What do you got? Go ahead and say it. You're amongst friends.
Gambling.
Was that an answer or a question? Say it. Gambling.
Gambling.
No. Gambling.
Gambling.
No. You're saying, you're giving an answer as a question. No question mark at the end. Just say gambling.
Gambling.
Yes. Well, that was actually there was one more time. Gambling.
Gambling.
Okay, we're getting there, but that's a good answer. Gambling is something that distracts your mind, takes away your sense of being honest, and so it's unfavorable. If you give up, it's one of the means of surrender. Yes. This is fun, right? How to give up all these things. Go ahead. Yes, you.
You give up
Ooh.
ego.
Give up your ego, yes. Pass it back.
Bad influence.
Like what? What's a bad influence? You mean like a bad star or what?
People who engage in like intoxication, drug,
People who are
gambling.
bad influence on you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely be one of them. It's even in the Upadeshamrita, isn't it? Yes? Are you saying yes, it's in the Upadeshamrita? Where is it in the Upadeshamrita? For 25 points. Huh? You got it? Oh, yeah, that's your specialty. Give him the mic. Let him shine.
Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha chana sangascha lilyam cha sadbir bhakti vinashyati.
Tell us the part.
So this verse talks about the 6 activities that will spoil your devotion. And first is eating or making more money than needed. Second is...
Not just eating, but eating more than required, right?
Sorry, eating...
Yeah. Anyway, it's all semantics. You're doing the right thing. Keep going. Huh? Yeah, you got it.
Over-endeavoring.
Mm-hmm.
Then...
Prajalpo. Atyahara prayashascha. Prajalpo. Who knows what Prajalpa is?
Mundane.
What is it?
Talking about non...
Give us an example. Somebody talk some Prajalpa in the microphone. Who wants to try? You want? Huh? Part wants to try. Okay, give him the mic. See if he can do it.
So I heard my friend was talking to this girl, and...
All right, that's enough. Give him the mic back. Yeah, Prajalpo. Okay.
And then we have practicing the scriptures only for your individual self.
Yeah.
And then this is the one that we're actually talking about, the 5th one.
You're doing it just by momentum. You're not thinking about making advancement, or?
And then, 5, I think.
No, I was saying
Oh.
that what else about the word?
Oh.
Niyamagraha has two parts, right?
Not following the scripture.
Yeah, you either follow it because
Or reject
and you
it,
don't know what you're
reject it.
doing, or you've just quit altogether, right?
Yeah, reject
So
it.
those are two in one. And then?
And number 5 is the one we were talking about, associating with non-devotees.
And you should give that up, right?
Yes. And then number 6 is trying too hard for mundane. Yeah,
No, you
trying
already
too
got
hard
that
for
one. You got
mundane
all
achievements.
6. Yeah. Jana Shanga Shalalyam Alalyam. Hankering for mundane things. Okay, good. Okay, one more verse. You ready? I'm not really convinced, but I'll do it. In the beginning, I have discussed the truth about the spiritual master. The truth about what? Now I shall try to explain the Panchatattva. What does Panchatattva mean? Pancha means, Tattva means, correct. Here's the purport. In the first chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, the author, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. I have a question for you. Who's the author of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita? Are you sure? Okay. Has described the initiator spiritual master and the instructor spiritual master in the verse beginning with the words Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Isham Ishavatarakam. Okay, quiz. Are you ready for a quiz? What's the word in that phrase that we just said that means more than one guru? Take the microphone. Somebody who hasn't gone yet. Pick someone, Brajaraf Bhavan, who hasn't gone yet. Okay. Mukaravind, you gotta give it to Mukaravind. Okay. Go ahead, Mukaravind. She give it to Ramani. Okay.
More than one guru means like it's a Diksha Guru, the one who is initiated, and then also the Siksha Guru or the instructing spiritual masters.
And what's the word in Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Isham Ishavatarakam that means more than one guru?
Gurun. Gurun.
How is that?
It's like a plural form of guru.
Uh-huh. So it means more than one guru, right? Thanks, Makarvin. Okay. You guys ready? I'm not convinced. All right. In that verse, there are 6 transcendental subject matters. How many? 6. Of which the truth regarding the spiritual master has already been described. Now the author will describe the other 5 tattvas, truths, namely Isha Tattva. Everyone repeat. Isha Tattva, the Supreme Lord. His expansion Tattva. His incarnation Tattva. His energy Tattva. And his devotee Tattva. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivatari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Go, go! Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivatari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivatari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Sing it, sing it. Go, go. Shri Krishna. Green light. No gutted hearts, gutted hearts. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Give her a good mic. And now we have a few minutes to share any realizations, or if you'd like to vent, or if you'd like to express any kind of ways you're feeling. It's very important as a community to have Guya Makyati Prichiti, heartfelt expression of our realizations and how we're feeling so we can process. Amongst friends, family, please. Yes.
Hare Krishna. So today morning I was thinking about how among the group of pure devotees, there's so much variety in terms of not only mood but also in terms of generally like in their behavior. There was their personalities were very various, and the way they did their sadhana was very diverse because bhakti is a very personal thing. So I was thinking about this, but at the same time I noticed that there was one very glaring common factor that had no sort of shift in it whatsoever. It was always very consistent, and that was that every single one of these pure devotees were extremely 100% dedicated to their guru. And that not only were they dedicated to their guru, it was their only business in their life was behaving in a way that was going to be pleasing to their spiritual master. And that the diversity in their mood and the diversity in their practice is just a byproduct of their extreme dedication to their Guru Maharaj, because all they were doing was really just following the instruction of their Guru. And this thought came to my mind because I was hearing about the comments that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had to make about the first verse of Upadeshamrita. And there he mentions about how he quotes from a song, from a certain Acharya's song, and he says that in that verse it talks about how Srila Rupa Goswami, every single time Mahaprabhu would speak, he would meticulously write everything that Mahaprabhu spoke and all of his instructions and everything. And the idea is that now we know about Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and the immense impact that Rupa Goswami had on the entire world. And being able to understand Mahaprabhu's mind was one thing, but if he understood Mahaprabhu's mind and did nothing about it, it still wouldn't have amounted to much for us. But he understood Mahaprabhu's mind, and he was so meticulous and dedicated to every single small detail of capturing what Mahaprabhu's message was. And that's why his works not only stand the test of time, but also stand the test of not only being accepted by our sampradaya, but by so many other sampradayas. Because in Vrindavan, I noticed that he's held as especially, even though he's the Acharya of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, he's really the Acharya of everyone, because it's his work that kind of really established Vrindavan for what it is.
That was really a meal in itself. Thank you very much, Shastra Sar. Prajaras Bhavana.
I really love the class that you gave in the afternoon today. It was such a wonderful explanation of that verse, and I love the definitions that you used for the different words in it, especially the one for Rasika. Whenever I read that verse, or even the concept of Rasika and so on, it's felt very far away for me. Like, oh, that's some intense stage, very far in the future. But the way you explained it was that a Rasika is someone who wants the best things in life. And I realized that I kind of want something similar too. And the best thing in life is reading Srimad Bhagavatam, is doing devotional service, and it made it very active. The idea of being a Rasika, idea of being someone who's a connoisseur of the Bhagavatam and so on, someone who's able to taste that nectar. And I really love that explanation. It was almost like a real mind-blowing moment for me, because I was like, I can do that, I think. I can make those kinds of decisions in my life.
Yeah, well, don't look now, but you are doing it. Nice. Thank you very much. Yes, Anapayini.
So I was reading Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was reading the first canto of the Bhagavatam, and I was particularly taken aback by the moment after the Kurukshetra war, where Yudhishthir was feeling really overwhelmed by the amounts of offenses that he could have committed throughout it. And he was lamenting, even though he is like the embodiment of morality, religiosity, everything, he was still feeling really overwhelmed, and they had to conduct this huge sacrifice where he had to send his brothers to different mountains to get the right types of gold, the right types of small things necessary to conduct the sacrifice properly. They had to look for the right priests and everything, and all of this was to rectify the offenses he committed during the war, which was ultimately for the good of the universe. And I was thinking about the situation we are all in, and where we don't even know the number of unintentional offenses we have committed. And in that purport, Prabhupada was talking about how we are very fortunate that all we have to do is just chant the Maha Mantra. And in that moment, it felt so, I just felt so incredibly fortunate, because I'm not even close to where Yudhishthir is in terms of my morality, and definitely have committed way more offenses, just like stepping on ants, etc. It's really hard to avoid offenses, but just by chanting the Maha Mantra that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us, we have such an easy process. It's almost unfair, but I was feeling really grateful for it.
Jai. Haribo. Yes. Sharing means caring.
So I wanted to add to your question, the answer, that Krishna can be described as the most forgiving.
The most forgiving?
Yeah.
Wow. That's nice. Well, how did that come to your mind?
I heard it, just...
You heard it recently? Or like from a reading or something like that? Something in the past?
Yeah.
Can you think of, or anybody think of a verse that we say a lot that describes Krishna in such terms? I was thinking of Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta, as an ocean of mercy. Yes? Would you like to share?
And just to add on to his comment that Krishna is very forgiving, like the story of Brigumani, how he tested Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, how Brigumani just kicked Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu was like, my chest is like really hard as stone, and you just kicked it, so let me massage it. But then, like, when somebody commits this act towards his devotee, he's not so forgiving. Like when Durvasa Muni sent the fire demon after Ambrish Maharaj, like the Sudarshan Chakra went all like on the Durvasa Muni. So like it's very forgiving. He's very forgiving when he comes to him, but like when it comes to like his devotees, he's not so forgiving.
Very nicely done. Very nicely done. Thank you very much. Yeah, they don't.
I wanted to add one more thing. So when we're talking about how Krishna is so forgiveful, it reminded me of how, like, in Kali Yuga, he's given us this holy name of the Maha Mantra.
You use the word forgiveful? Let's
Forgiving.
say forgiving.
Yeah, sorry.
Better.
Forgiving.
Okay.
And it reminded me of the verse from the 6th Sastikam, Chaito Darpanam Arjanam Bhavamahada Vagni Nirvapanam Shreyakar Vachandrika Vaitaranam Vidya Varujivanam Anandamri Vardanam Pratipadam Purnamita Srivinam Sarvat Masnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. And it talks about how this holy name is so beneficial, and it clears all the sinful reactions from our heart and allows us to reach closer towards Lord Krishna. And it reminded me of how forgiving Lord Krishna is, and how generous he is giving us this holy name in the age of Kali Yuga that we can use to help ourselves.
Solid. Totally solid. All the way to the back. pass it back to you.
Maharaj, so before coming to Krishna consciousness, as a fallen soul, or maybe misguided individual, I had experienced so many fears in life. Now, even after coming to Krishna consciousness, maybe because of my past conditioning, I want to live a life of happiness like everybody else, like all the devotees. But sometimes this happiness is taken away from me because of fears. So many fears, come up in our day-to-day lives. So many fears. And ultimately, the joy of Krishna consciousness is taken away from me. How do I stop this this crisis?
Yeah. Even though we're in the practice of Krishna consciousness, we still may experience the trepidations of material life, because after all, we're in a material body, and we have our mind to contend with. It's been there with us for many lifetimes. One thing that you can do is to adjust your expectations, because Krishna helps us with that in the Bhagavad Gita by saying that the material world is naturally a place of suffering. I can say that every time Prabhupada mentions, and he does often, that as long as you have a material body, you're going to be in a situation where you're going to have to suffer. Somehow or other, it gives me some relief, because I feel like, okay, as long as I know I'm not doing anything wrong, it's just the way it is. It helps me to tolerate it more. And the other obvious answer is to chant Hare Krishna and continue with the process, because there's no shortcut. Whatever complications we have in our life, and everybody has some complication. There's no even Shukadeva, of course, Shukadeva Goswami was reluctant to come into the world because he said it's too complicated. And then his father said, "How about school?" And he didn't even answer. "That's too complicated. Everything's too complicated." He didn't want to do SAT or any of that stuff. He just left. But he came back into it. And we're in the world, but if we continue chanting Hare Krishna, then there is a way that will rise above the anomalies of the material body. I really liked the class Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj gave the other day in Mayapur. He was talking about Krishna Lila, because the verse was in that realm, and he was talking about very high states of devotional service, and in the end he said, but practically speaking, most of us are in a situation where we may not be having the same kind of ecstasy as Uddhava was in the Bhagavatam in the third canto, where he had to pull himself away from the spiritual world to be present for Vidura. And he said, but I do know this. Whenever I follow the morning program and I chant my rounds, he said, I feel better. And this is a point I keep coming back to, because it's almost impossible to feel better when we're in this body and in the material world. There's always some affliction that comes, some fear, then there's agitation that comes from other people. Just out of nowhere, they can throw something at you that disturbs your mind, and so forth. But there's only one real remedy. It's to chant Hare Krishna. And I say it that way because it's practical. And if you chant your rounds every day, and you try to study Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and associate with devotees, just do everything that's available, then you're going to feel better. And Prabhupada gave similar answers because they're all there. I have Prabhupada's letter books. They're books that have all of Prabhupada's letters, and I've gone through them. And so many times people ask him similar questions. I don't have the privilege of reading the letters that they wrote because those weren't saved as much, but Prabhupada's answers were there. And in context, I can tell people were asking similar questions. And Prabhupada several times says it's the same old answer, chant Hare Krishna. And so I was at a talk with Kaustuba Prabhu when we were in London at Studio 108. It's where a lot of new people come. And someone had been asking about how to overcome the mind, how to overcome fear and things like that. And he just gave a really simple answer that you have to think of Krishna. And that's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Just always think of me. Ananya cheta satatam, yomam smarati nityasaha. Just try to remember me. And then Prabhupada makes it even more simple. He says, in the purport to tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, mamanu smarayudyacha, mayarpita mano budhir, mami vaishasya samshaya. Prabhupada writes in the purport that this is really important for those of us, or those who are in the material world. And that is that do your work, go on with what you have to do, but chant Hare Krishna at the same time. And that'll do it. It'll work. Guaranteed. There's no question about it. We have to tolerate so much living in a material body, but it's a useful vehicle. That we have here is so useful. Labvam sadurlabam idam bahusambhavante. When I was with Kunja Sevika, in her last few days, it was such a rare and heart-rending opportunity to be with a sincere devotee who's making her, using her whole will to focus on Krishna before she leaves the world. And it just was in my mind of how fortunate she was to have that. Like everyone else, she had complications in her life. Everyone has them. But she kept going. She kept chanting Hare Krishna. And even when she got ill, she kept chanting Hare Krishna. And even when the body was failing her, and everybody's body will fail. It's part of the system here. You get to use it for a little while. It's like one of those bikes you pick up on rent, and you just slide your thing, and then sooner or later it's going to run out. And you just got to leave it and go to the next one. But, she kept the vibration going. It was what she wanted, to just keep hearing, and to whatever degree she could move her lips, she was chanting and so forth. And that's our only solace. And all the devotees tonight have so eloquently brought up verses and talked about it. It's Lord Chaitanya's mercy, and it's his process to keep chanting Hare Krishna. So we have to somehow or other tolerate whatever complexities we have in our life. And the positive part is to continue chanting Hare Krishna. And if you can do that with a vow, and no matter what else happens, keep that going, Krishna will rise to he'll give us assistance in every possible way, and we'll have a successful life. Om Tat Sat. Sukeshwari.
When you were mentioning about Kunja Sevika Mataji, I was remembering that, for several months, she would come in our morning Bhagavatam reading and she would listen. And she told me that she wants to learn some shlokas, so we had recorded. And when I went last Saturday, she told me, Sukeshwari, I'm dying. So I said, remember the shloka that we learned together? So I was just telling her the shloka of Navamudyate Bravishite Tadidambaraya. And she was trying to, slurring had already started, but she was trying to say something. And I said, what does that mean? We were reading about Krishna entering the forest. And she said, yes. And he's wearing these beautiful garlands. And then he's, so we're describing the shloka. She was so happy. And then Hansapriya said, the thing that she always had is, I didn't do so much service. I didn't do much service. I'm taking so much service from everybody. So we're saying that in your mind, you can just start doing service now. And Hansapriya was telling so nicely to her, she said, think about all the 100 cows in your mind. you do so many things that you want to do as a service to them. You can cook for Radha Madan Mohan in your mind, when your body is not able to do it. And she was very happy. And after we finished, we spent some good time. And then when the doctor came in, she said, what was changing? She looks so blissful now. So I was just thinking that, as you just mentioned, I was just remembering, I've been remembering her all 3 this week.
Yeah, I was thinking at the funeral yesterday, most people don't know what to do when someone dies. That's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita in the 15th chapter. I thought of that one a lot. Yatanto yoginas chainam pasyantyatman yavastitam yatanto pyakritatmano nainam pasyantya chetasa. He says very clearly, if somebody's trained in Krishna consciousness, they know how to handle death, and they know how to handle it in other people. And they know how to be around someone who's dying because they understand it. But then he says, if someone hasn't studied it, they don't know what's happening, and it's the most off-putting of circumstances you can have. Most people don't want to be around it, and they feel really awkward when they come into a room where somebody's leaving their body, and maybe they'll look at their phone or they'll talk, or they just get nervous because it's inscrutable. They don't know what it is. So what I felt when we started chanting, for instance, in the funeral home, it was, can we chant? When can we chant? And stuff because there's also a decorum. When someone dies, you don't want to be gregarious, and you have to be respectful of people's feelings and everything that's unfolding. So then finally, who was it who arranged for the chanting? Anyway, he came over and said, okay, you can chant now, just keep it kind of quiet. And as soon as we started the kirtan, I had the same feeling that I had when we went into Kunja Sevika's room in the hospital. I brought the drum in a couple days ago because, you never know, you might get a chance. And as soon as I started playing the drums, her eyes opened really wide, and I thought, there's Balaram's here, because the drum has that power, and she realized kirtan, her eyes got really bright, she kind of looked over. And in the funeral home also, just all the energy coalesced because the chanting was going on, and you could really feel how it evened everything out. Everyone felt, okay, here's a vibration we can take shelter of. Before that, it's solemn, it's somewhat confusing. Everyone's not sure exactly how to act, where you do this, there's ritual going on in the corner, and it's but the chanting Hare Krishna, simple thing. Everyone goes yeah, we can do this. It's working. And that's the same thing. Our whole life is confusing. It's really hard being a soul in a material body. That's period, full stop. But if you chant Hare Krishna, you can rise above that, and it's visceral. You're rising above it. You feel it, and you feel, as Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj said in such a humble, simple way, you feel better. So that's our system, and we can see it in all the aspects of our life when devotees are being born and coming into the Sangha, when we're going through childhood, which is no walk in the park, which is speak of high school, and all the other stuff you got to do. If you just keep chanting Hare Krishna, then even when you're leaving the world, you'll also know what to do, and you'll be doing the right thing. So it comes back to the same old thing, chant Hare Krishna. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsimhadeva, if you so desire, please give full shelter at your lotus feet to Srimati Kunja Sevika Devi Dasi. Please always let us remember her enthusiasm for service and her affable mood towards the devotees. Please also let us help one another as we go through the different phases of our life and remind each other there's one main solution. That's to remember Krishna and chant Hare Krishna. Om Tat Sat. And P.S. Please consider inspiring everyone to memorize Prahlad Maharaj's prayers before Nrsinga Chaturdashi. Thank you for considering that request also. Everyone agrees with these prayers in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpadurusha,